If it's your turn to go into the hot seat, the Dungeon Master seat, then it can be quite worrying, nerve-wracking. And this video's for people who are going to be running the game for the first time. I'm going to give some inspiration. But I think anyone of any level can take some help from this. This system can be ported into any type of TTRPG that you're using. Well, this is just to alleviate new DMs' nerves and picture how much prep they need to do, what is expected of them. Firstly, I want to point out that it's not all on you, it's only partially on you. Now let's look at my whiteboard to show you why. So just realise that you've only got to do the red part of the box, the whole box being the game, the session. You're only responsible for 50%. And on the player's side, let's say you've got Alan, Brian, Claire and Debbie are your players. They can split the player side between 4. They're each going to be playing their characters, right? So what do they expect from you and the game? Be it a one-shot or be it a little bit longer. But let's say it's very simplistic. Start off at the very basics. They're going to expect the 3-act structure like from films. The start, the journey, the end. You're going to start the adventure in a town, around a campfire, on the move across the plains, on horseback, however you decide. But they will start somewhere. Level 1 or whatever, doesn't matter where you start, but I'm going to say level 1 for the newbies. They're raring to go, they've got a clean armour on, and they're going to be motivated to go somewhere, looking for treasure, whatever the story progression is. They're going to journey, and through that journey they will play their characters right up until the climax, when whatever the final scene of your session is finally arrives, okay? So you have your 3-act structure, and therefore the players will also have a 3-act structure like this. So they know that they will start at level 1, wherever that takes place. Let's say it's in a town. Let's say it's in the most generic town possible, Townsville. Start off in Townsville, they journey, and we all know there's going to be some combat, some event on the road. Finally, they're going to have the bigger combat. This is Route 1, the most generic, but don't take from that it's not fun. It's essential. It's why we play D&D, for that system. As we get further into this, things get more intricate, more interesting. So your job as DM is to create the skeleton. You literally create a skeleton, the bare bones, allowing the players to flesh it out, until by the end they only remember the fleshed out red section of the whole adventure. And if I turn the stickman sideways, it's kind of a good illustration. So if you look how the start equates to the head of a stickman, that's the whole city, all the things around them, what they already have, what they can do straight off the bat. Nothing needs acquiring. You know, they might know spells, they might know their own attacks, they can do that. And so you could even integrate a tutorial into that town. They're on the town square and there's an archery competition for those that are good with arrows. They want to show that. There's someone challenges them to an arm wrestle for those strength guys. All the things they already have, basically. But as we get to section 2 here, there's a split. 2 arms go both ways. And that's like a crossroads. Give them choice. Do you want to go up into the mountains or down into the plains, or into the cave, or through another town? Now just those 2 choices give it the sense of an adventure. And choice. They decide, not you. And all you've got to do is prep 2 options. Meanwhile, when we get to the climax, there's another 2 options. I suppose you could say, do they vanquish the foe? Or do they talk them down in a non-combatant way and win still? Any more than this is not on your shoulders. If the adventurers think about it and think, you know what, this troll at the end is too much for us. I've never played D&D before, so why don't we go back to town and ask the townsfolk to come help us? That can happen. It's up to them. It's not up to you. You just provide the paths, and they decide how to flesh it out. Right, so now we've gone down the stickman sideways method. I'm going to show you a similar version with dots. So here we have the start dot on the left. Then there are 3 dots in the middle for 3 things that happen along the way. Quite simply, a monster fight of some kind. Then an environmental encounter, which is like a broken bridge. How are you going to get across this ravine? Not for you to think how. It's not your problem. Let them think out, and the best one they can come up with, yeah, you're right, that works. And if they don't know how to get across the bridge at all, then just have an NPC come along and say, hey, I'll help you cut down those trees, we'll We'll do a makeshift bridge. Just get them moved on. Don't underestimate your players, they'll think of something. Grappling hooks, throwing each other over, animal handling a flock of birds to carry them over, whatever. At this early stage, it literally just getting the game played. So then, dot 3 could be something that plays into one of the characters. Let's say you've got a bard. So have another bard come by and give them a competition. I bet I'm better than you. Or the mystery NPC. He sat under a tree. You care to join me for some food? Ooh, is this food poisoned? We don't know. Who is this guy? What's he about? The DM's put him here. You don't have to know why. Just watch their faces as they don't quite know what's going on here. And then he can say, hey, I've got something good to show you. Do you want to come? And it's further, you don't know what. Take him to a well. Take him to a cave and say, there's treasure in there, but it's beyond my grasp. Have it be a chest? High up chest? Again, let them come up with how to do it. Just simplicity if you're early on. This is your first game. This is just a start point. But we have another method if you're feeling that's far too easy before you get to the end goal. And we've not even discussed story, what the motivations are. We're not thinking like that yet. We're thinking in jigsaw pieces only. That's the simplest way. But what about this edition? Now our second dot has a split in the road 3 ways, as we mentioned earlier. Do you want to go up into the mountains, keep on this road, or down into the valley? Whichever route they take, your next dot will all converge. So let's say high, middle, low. You can decide 3 different things. These are 3 different locations that will end up getting you to the 4th dot, no matter what. But either way, they need to converge where they all meet up. Same reason. Maybe they need to meet an NPC. The high, the medium, the low all end up saying go to the PC at so-and-so town. They'll give you something to kill the end boss or to help you out or information. So now we've got a bit of a meaty choice, especially for your first adventure. If that's not enough, why don't we do this? Simply have them need all 3. They can go in any order, high, middle, low, but they need to go to all 3. They need to go into the woods, into the caves, into the icy mountain peaks. But that will get you quite a far way in prep. So let's say the high road, we could think of it as high height, or we can think of it as high severity. That is a hag up in the mountains that's dangerous, lives in an old witch cottage. Medium one, a pack of goblins. 2 more goblins than the entire party. Or the low one, maybe it's just bribing a bridge troll. Give him a bit of money, safe passage, well done. You took the easy route. But now, let's go a bit further. We could follow these routes, up these diamonds, take the red path, a completely different set than the black path. They can go backwards and forwards, and it's choice is all it is. If you want multiple sessions, you can use this method. It might be a bit too much to use every single option here in a session, but obviously if they once they take a route, it disappears. Let's say they choose the middle route from the first dot. Then they have to take the red, and they simply can't go to the middle dot. So then we branch off at the next dot, so there's option again. And that's as simplistic as I can say for your prep. Another illustration I would like to make. So I think of these as plates on a table. The DM black plates are the ones that you've come up with. Go to so-and-so, get this. You'll need it because you're going to fight a ice troll, so this thing hurts them more. That's one. Secondly, there's a discount at a store in this town. Go there. But then the red plates are the ones where the players go. You know what I might do? I think I might go have a word with the city guard and ask them for information. All of a sudden, they're making their own plot points. That's the idea. I'm going to go pray and see if my gods can give me some sort of clues for the quest ahead. You're doing 50% again, like I told you. So let's look at the difference between new players and old players. So just look at the black area. You're the DM. You have to do your set amount of work, as we've just discussed. Now look at the new slight sliver of red. The new players will possibly give you very little back. They're just being told where to go. They'll go dutifully. They won't come up with their own things. They'll just say, oh, we got to go see this guy. We got to see this guy. That's it. So you'll feel like you're doing 75% of the work, talky, and they're doing reacting, basically, for 25% of the game. New players need leading. But think about this. You, from doing the exact same prep we've talked about, you'll be the one providing the game. You're the star of this. Thank you. That was great. You did all the effort. We just turned up and rolled. That's all the players want. Roll some dice, talk to some people, level up. And realistically, if they don't have fun, then they've not created the fun for themselves a lot of the time. It's what you get out what you put in, and you've put all the effort in. It's up to them to play in the sandbox. Now the blue section of this circle is old players, people who have played numerous times. You do the same amount of prep, and you sit back and you watch these people roleplay for ages, come up with different plot points, and you find that they're doing 75% of the game and you're just doing 25%. Writing down that they want to go see him, you'll design that by next week. You've got to go do this in the mountains, okay, I need to design the Hag's Lair. Alright, back to what's needed from you. So, you're the DM, you need to know these things. What is where? What are on those dots that we've spoken about? Where are those dots placed? In the woods? In a completely different plane of existence? Whatever your inspiration led you to. So you're expected to know what is where in the world, and let's pretend that you know the entire continent. You don't. It doesn't matter. You don't need to know what's in every drawer of anywhere you make. You need to know what's there in regards to there's a cottage. You don't need to know what's in the second drawer down, what's under the bed. None of that. You put a list of names behind your DM screen or equivalent so that when they meet the hag or anyone they throw out, what's your name, quick glance, next one on the list. They want loot. They want to find things. Dead bodies, drawers. What do they want to find loot-wise? Coins. Roll a d20. That's how much coin you find. Gold. Don't bother with anything less than gold. Nobody gives a damn. Mundane items. Okay, the goblin had coin, a picture of his goblin son named Nasher. Completely irrelevant, but you never know how that picture could come in for them with their little brains. The players could think, I'm going to disguise myself as this goblin because I've seen it. Could be used to fool Townsguard. We're looking for this goblin. Have you seen him? Any mundane item. Candles. Chalk. The most underrated item in D&D, in my opinion. And of course, there's the ooh items to make them all go, ooh. There's a sword. It can be exactly the same as their sword, but say it's got a socket for an amulet. They don't have the amulet, but they're like, ooh, it's got a socket. It's got written runes on it. It's got elvish writing. It's the same as mine. Does the same damage at this stage, but the possibilities. Or literally, their sword, +1. Spells. Spell scroll. It's for your top level spell, or it's for the spells you can't yet cast, but put it in your pocket, you'll be able to cast it one day. This is where your sentient swords can come in if you're really feeling like you want to add some DM help into the game, where they can literally tell the characters, the sword's saying, hey, you might want to check out that thing, I've been there before with my former master. It helps you nudge the party on their way. But it's more work, because you always have to be talking for them, well, now and again. So ultimately think about the plot thread. You have to get from A to B. You have to go collect this to defeat that to get this. You have to defeat him to collect this, to find that. And you can just go back to your mage, you can go back to town with your sword with your socket in it. Take some dragon scales or whatever you found by vanquishing a monster. Try and upgrade your weapon. Can I put dragon scales on this armour? Yes, it'll increase your AC by 1. So blacksmiths are there for a reason. Mages in town. Clerics. You found a redundant goblin silver ring. Can you bless it to give me 5 temporary health points once a day? Yes. And I don't know. I think that's it, right? For part 1. I have ideas for part 2. Let me know if you want to hear them. Have a good game.